Pick up your gear and open your chests. Throw on your armor and head out on a quest. Hey, hey, it's a brand new day. On the Sword Coast, your allies will help with blades and bows and magic as well. Hey, hey, heroes on their way. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you reset again. Idle champions. From Waterdeep to Icewind Dale, head out to Chull or Shadowfell, hey, hey. Together we stay. Walk to the monsters, walk to the boss, walk to the right, it's never a loss, hey, hey. Bad guys to slay. Fighting forever against overwhelming odds. Fighting together in favor of multiple gods. Idle champions of the forgotten realms. Idle champions, adventure never ends. Idle champions, get you all out there. Idle champions, you reset again. Idle champions.
Good morning, everybody. It's Saturday. Well, if you're watching this live. Which means it's time for more Gaarawarr's Guide, the tutorial show. On this show, we have a specific topic each week that we talk about, or that I talk about, for like an hour. And then the second hour I do Q&A. Prioritizing that topic, but it can be a Q&A about anything, honestly. Anything about Idle Champions. Today's topic, an event launched this week. And as always, whenever there's an event, starting on a Wednesday, on Saturday we talk about the event and the new champion that arrived, plus the other two champions that are returning. So right now this is Highharvestide. It is year 7. I know there's some weirdness with numbers. Like, wait, I thought they said it was the 6th anniversary. Why is it the 7th year event? Because right when they launched, they called the first year of champions year 1, right? So this is technically year 7. But that's because there have been 6 full years already. Just want to clear that out. So this is the very first year 7 champion. Highharvestide was the very first event ever in the game. The very first event champion ever was Stokey. Yeah. I didn't make a guide for events until Liar's Night, which is the next event. That will be my 6th anniversary of making guides for this game, which is wild. But yeah. So today we're going to be talking about Highharvestide Year 7. The newest champion to arrive is Certainty Dran, the Nepo baby from Acquisitions Incorporated. Dran's daughter. We're also going to talk about the other two champions that arrived, their return, I should say, in this event. You can always find them right here. Danan, Egbert. They're a lot of fun. So, we're going to dive in right away. The first thing we're going to cover, though, is how to present questions. As the question reminder got posted in chat, and as it says down below on the screen, put question : for your questions. The wonderful Gabe is with us in the production booth today. Gabe's going to be grabbing those questions at any point during the stream, but that way you only have to ask it once. You can ask it when the question occurs to you. Gabe will grab it, put it in a document over here, and it will be saved so that I can then ask it in the second half of the show. in the second half of the show. All right, so let's dive in. So, normally I kind of do the same spiel every time, but we're going to dive into it anyway because we got new players coming in all the time. Normally, you look at your campaign map like this, and you're doing Grand Tour or something else, and the banner looks, with the Grand Tour at the top. But when an event arrives, you get an event at the top. Events are always going to have a single node because everything gets done in that one place. And events are always going to show 3 champions. Now, if you're a new player, all 3 potentially are new to you. Great, you pick up 3 brand new champions. For us returning players, we would have already had, potentially one or both of the prior champions. So the newest champion is always going to be the one on the bottom. The newest champion, again, this year is Certainty Dran. And it does differentiate some things in terms of how all of this works, whether they're a returning champion or the newest champion. Because when you're doing adventures and variants, and free plays in an event, they have a cost associated with them. Let's see, it costs 500 harvest baskets, costs 2,500 harvest baskets. There's a cost to doing everything in an event, and it's because they're generating, they kind of want to limit you to what you can, or the idea originally was to limit how much effectively gear and make you choose which champion you might gear up, or do you want to gear them all up equally? That's what I recommend. But that was the thing. So over the course of an event, you'll see that you're gathering these tokens, the harvest baskets. They look like pumpkins for whatever reason. Maybe it's a basket that's shaped like a pumpkin. I mean, those are a thing. You get one of these every 25 seconds. You can't farm them. You can't speed up your game to get more. You can't run multiple parties to get more. You can't use speed champions to get more. It's just one every 25 seconds. It's a server-side calculation. So as long as you're killing things, because they do drop off enemies, as long as you're killing things, you're going to earn one. But if for some reason you stop killing things, like me right now, sitting on this screen with no background parties running, the server is going to tick up and go, well, after 25 seconds, well, we owe them 1. We owe them 2. We owe them 3. We owe them 4. And it's going to keep track. And then when you start killing things, it's going to start dropping bundles of them until it catches you up to what it owes you. Okay. Over the course of an event, you will get more than enough to unlock all 3 champions, to do all 3 of their variants each, and to do a significant number of free plays for each of them. Now, each of these things offers different rewards. So when you do the regular adventure unlock, the reward is going to be the champion itself. You're going to get, you do the first one for Dahan, you get Dahan. Then you do Egbert. Then you do Certainty. You unlock 3 brand new champions. After that, it turns into a free play, and you get access to all the variants. Now, variants guarantee you as a reward, I've already done these so you don't see it, but it guarantees you a gold named chest for that champion, which means it's going to drop anything from green, blue, or purple gear specifically for the champion it's named after. So you're guaranteed 3 gold chests if you do all 3 variants, right? 1 from each. Okay. Now the rest of the chests you're going to get come from free plays. Doing free plays and completing Area 50, as it notes here, gets you a random chest for that champion. It will be named for that champion. It'll either be silver or it'll be gold. Now, there is a 1 in 3 chance that you will get a gold chest. So potentially every third free play you could get a gold. So it would be 2 silvers and 1 gold. However, RNG gonna RNG. So what they do with these is they put in a bad luck protector. So if you don't get your gold within the first 3, the 4th one will guarantee you a gold chest. So that means you're guaranteed a gold chest. Even if you have bad luck and you get 3 silvers in a row, you're guaranteed a gold chest on your 4th free play for that specific champion. You can't do a Dahan, then an Egbert, then a Certainty, and come back to Dahan and go, well, that's 4 free plays. That's not how... Each of them tracks their pity timers separately. Okay, so you're guaranteed 1 in 4 runs is going to get you a gold chest, which is really good odds, honestly. And sometimes you're going to get 4 gold chests out of 4 runs. So it's definitely for 10,000 tokens because free plays tend to cap out at 2,500. I know these say 500, but every time you do one, it's going to go up. The cost is going to go up by 500. But it caps at 2,500. So once you get cycling through them like that, Every 4 runs, 10,000 tokens. That's going to get you 1 gold chest plus 3 silvers at a minimum. Which is better than buying chests from the store. You can just straight up decide to buy a gold chest for a champion from the store for 10,000 tokens. Not worth it. That exists there kind of to allow you, like the morning the event is going to end. If you weren't able to do runs over the weekend and you've got 10,000 or more tokens left, you can just go grab a chest real quick and not waste the tokens, because those tokens go away immediately once the event ends. This event will run, as a reminder, this event will run until October the 9th. October the 9th, that's a Monday, noon Pacifically speaking. So it's good over the weekend, the 7th and 8th. On the 8th, try to get, burn off all your tokens. That's what I refer to it, just running free plays over and over and over. Get rid of all your tokens, and then you're good, and then you don't have to worry about losing anything. Okay, so, again, you're going to want to unlock each of the champions, kind of just to start. I recommend don't try to just do everything for Dahani. I mean, I think it's much more efficient to unlock Dahani, then go and unlock Egbert, then go and unlock Certainty. The reason being, those unlock adventures are inexpensive when it comes to tokens. For Dahani and Egbert, they are the returning champions. They're discounted, so they're only 25 tokens to do their unlocks. Certainties is 100 tokens to unlock her. So grab all of those. And the reason you want to do those first is there is favor in an event. And favor is what's going to determine how easy or how hard the variants are going to be. Because variant difficulty ratings, as we see here, difficulty easy, is based purely on the amount of favor you have. And that's not just for events, that's for everything in this game. So getting it to difficulty easy tends to be my first recommended goal. And that goal to make everything, all 3 of these variants, because each one is more difficult than the last, to get all 3 of them to show as easy is getting EO8. See, I'm way over that over here, but EO8 favor. We do scientific notation in this house because it's just an easier number to throw around when we're talking about values. We don't have to remember, oh God, how many is that again? What do those letters mean? You can hit Y if you're on PC. You can hit Y on your keyboard. If you're not, go into the settings, choose scientific notation, and throw those numbers out to the community. It's much easier for us to communicate with you when you're doing it in scientific notation. Just is. Plus, this game is all about big numbers, and it's much easier to see, well, I was EO8 before, and now I'm EO9, and know that you went up, rather than I was MQ before, and now I'm ZP. I don't know. I'm making those up, but that's what it feels like. It feels like they made them up, too, so do the thing that's easier for you and everyone else, and just see, oh, number get bigger. Number get bigger. Yay. It's just easier. So, EO8 or higher favor, if you can get to E10, all of these are going to be a walk in the park, but EOA, they should be easily doable. So, using those first unlock adventures as favor runs, pushing past the Area 50 completion zone, and trying to get a bunch of favor and having it be inexpensive because it doesn't cost a lot of your event tokens, is recommended. Once that's done, I tend to then say if you don't have EO8 yet, hit up a free play. Don't attempt the variants yet. Generally speaking in this game, I say don't do variants until they show as green. Otherwise, you could have a no good, very bad day. Now, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't be able to complete one. It's just that variants have restrictions. See this big wall of text that make it harder for you to complete than just a regular free play or adventure. The difficulty rating, it's only based on the favor that you have. So it's very much you must be this tall to ride this ride. It's a safety measure. It has nothing to do with whether or not you could complete it. You might be able to complete it when it shows as red, like deadly. Probably not if you're newer. Probably not. So they're telling you, hey, at least get this much favor, and then this will be more enjoyable for you, safer for you to attempt. So keep that in mind. All right, let's talk about each of these variants. So again, variants, let's talk about campaign layouts. So each champion has their own kind of mini campaign. What I mean by that is, like, normally every campaign over here in the banner has its own formation layout. Each champion has their own formation layout too. Some layouts are going to be easier to push in than others for newer players. For instance, Dahani's probably not great for new players with just like 3 champions out on their own at the front, right? Not necessarily the place you want to do deep pushes. Not really. Because for new players, you're just not going to be able to get your power online with the champions that you have in this kind of layout. Egbert's a little better. You know, single champion frontline. We've got a good amount of adjacencies built up here. Those are important. A lot of champions like adjacencies for buffs. And then, again, the certainty is pretty straightforward. It's like Sword Coast with an extra little champion in the 3rd column. Again, single champion frontline, lots of adjacencies. So either one of these are probably your best bet for deep pushes. So keep that in mind. Probably just do Dahani's stuff, then go do deep pushes somewhere else. All right. Red Alert is the first Dahani variant. I'm not going to read the getting to know Dahani stuff. We're going to get to know Dahani in a moment once we hop into a free play. Champion damage and gold find is reduced by 99%. That seems scary for newer players, but remember, we're playing a game of large numbers. 99% is 1% away from 100%. I'm so good at math on stream. 100 is effectively, in scientific notation, 1 EO2. So when you're reducing 99%, you're almost reducing EO2 off your gold find. Now, favor is gold find. So it would take my personal favor from E77 to E75, roughly, right? Which doesn't really matter. That doesn't really matter. So again, if this is showing green, if all of these are showing green, you have more than enough favor to lose EO2, to lose 99%, and not have it affect you at all. So don't get scared of numbers like this. And it says champion damage is reduced that way as well. But again, we're dealing with large numbers in this game. Your champions are going to be doing large values of damage in terms of scientific notation. Losing EO2 off that, not a big deal. Okay? So don't be scared by that. Again, just make sure they're all green and this is nothing. Enemies who've not been painted by Dahani's attack move 100% faster. Dahani has a paint mechanism. She's a painter. She's a monk and she's a painter. And she will paint enemies when she hits them, but it's just a speed thing, and honestly, not really that big of a restriction. So overall, this might look scary, but again, as long as it's green, it's not. Each of the variants is going to have a higher completion area, so it starts at 75, goes to 125, and then to 175. That's part of the difficulty involved in them, is going a little further. So, Bullywug Brawl. Bullywugs appear in each formation. They do not drop, well, in each formation. That's actually a problem. In each wave is what they mean. They do not drop gold, nor do they count towards quest progress. So they're just trying to overwhelm you with some enemies. That's kind of a non-restriction. Only champions with dex of 14 or higher can be used. There's the actual restriction. So they're restricting based off your stat scores. Dex 14 or higher only. It might make this a little harder for you, depending on how many champions that you have that qualify for that, and if they're, actually useful. So if you have any empty formation slots, or just filler champions are just thrown in there because they qualify, but they're not really doing anything, add an extra, try to make sure you have an extra EO1 more favor per that, based off the requirement for Bullywug Brawl and it to be green, and I think that's EO5 or EO6. So if you were missing 2 formation slots, EO8. If you're missing 4, E10, right? That's just going to guarantee you can do it. You might be able to do it without it, but just know that's more of a guarantee. All right, doubling down. The effects of Dahani's specializations are doubled, so you're just making her stronger, potentially. But then your quest requirements are doubled. Okay, like that might be like, oh, but it's not that bad, and it's actually helpful to you. Because if you have to kill twice as many things to progress a level, you're earning twice as much gold per level, which means you're leveling up your champions more than you normally would based on the area that you're on. So it's actually a power feed. All it really does is slow you down a little bit. In each boss area, second boss spawns. Both bosses must be defeated in order to progress. Again, not going to be a major problem because of you getting more gold than you're used to on each given area. All right, let's talk about Egbert's. So delay tactics. Egbert starts in the formation. He can't be moved or removed. Now, when they say he can't be moved, and they start in the formation, they put this C for champion in the formation. I wish it was gold or something so you could see it easier. So Egbert's going to be your tank. Egbert's going to be your tank, which is good because Egbert is a tank. Egbert is a tank. So they got that right. Enemies can take at most 10% of their max health per hit in damage for the first 10 seconds after they appear. What this is going to do is slow down your progress. No more one-shotting enemies, right? The enemies will take at least 10 hits. At least 10 hits to die in the first 10 seconds they're on the screen. So this is slowing down your progress. It doesn't. It's not. It's kind of like an armor mechanic in a sense because you're only going to get that 10% max health per. Speed potions last twice as long though, so great. They're just like, hey, I know this is going to slow you down, but we're going to encourage you to throw a speed potion down. So a 15-minute speed potion is going to last 30 minutes. Yay, because that might be what it takes. Or do a 5-minute and just have it last 10. Who knows? So yeah, not the worst thing in the world. You're just gonna, you're gonna need favor to level up your Eggbert because he may be getting beat on quite a bit. Kicked out of Le Dragon d'Or. Eggbert starts in the formation, and his Atonement of the Past ability starts unlocked. Once again, he's in a fixed spot, so he's in the tanking spot. Atonement of the Past is an ability we're going to talk about here soon. So, and this gets really confusing because of this. Basically, he either adds up points or subtracts points based off whether you're lawful or chaotic. Lawful champions in the formation give him points. Chaotic ones subtract points. So if Egbert has positive atonement points, only lawful champions can deal damage. Otherwise, if it's negative, then only chaotic champions can deal damage. So you're basically building a formation around, like, who is your primary DPS? Are they lawful or chaotic? If they're because you then need to make sure that that's the most, like, that the rest of the champions, not all of them, but most of the champions are lawful, or at least you have enough lawful and neutral. Egbert's complicated. Lawful and neutral champions with the right specialization to make lawful to end up in the positive points, at least to have 1 point. Egbert's a math boy, and we'll get into his math in a bit. Egbert the Careless. Egbert starts in formation. He can't be moved or removed. So again, they're throwing him right up here. Every one of Egbert's variants are going to require him to be your tank. Every 10 seconds, Egbert accidentally drops a lit bomb. Yeah, that's Careless. Which bounces back. Oh no, that's where our party is. And explodes. Whoops. Dealing a random amount of damage up to the area's number to a random champion other than Eggbert and anyone standing next to them. Now, the damage here, I know, it's funny, it's great, but the damage is up to the area's number, and you only have to go to 175, so at max you're going to take 175 damage. It's not really that bad. It's funny. It's super funny. But you're not taking a whole lot of damage. You're not taking a whole lot of damage. Some people like to just heal this up. I prefer just to use, like, Calliope and shield it. Someone like Calliope. Anyone who provides a temp HP shield. Because then the damage just comes out of the shield. But you can do whatever you want here. Again, it's not a huge thing. It's not a lot of damage. Alright, let's look at certainties. Stuff. Certainty Dran joins the formation. She can't be moved or removed. Now she is back here in the 4th column. See the C. So that's where she's going to be positioned. Only certainty and champions in the row in front of her can deal damage, and that row is going to be the one with 4 champions in it. So that just means that's where you're going to put your primary damage dealer. So primary DPS has to go in the 3rd column. I don't know why they call them rows when they're columns. I mean, up here they go, only certainty and champions in the row in front of her, but down here they're like champions in the column in front of her. It's a column, folks. Columns go up and down. Rows go back and forth. They're Just know they're talking about columns. Not that bad. It just means it just informs your formation placement. It's super easy. Super easy variant. So again, the bonds of acquisition. So certainty joins the formation, but you can move her around. So that's why there's no C here. You just can't remove her. So that means you can only move her once. No. It means you can't pull her from the formation. You can move her out as much as you want. Quest requirements are doubled. We already talked about this. This is actually a good thing. It's going to slow you down a little bit, but you get more gold per area, and that's, makes things easier to kill. Enemies defeated by AC Inc. and C Team affiliation members drop double quest items and count for double quest progress. Oh, that's nice. So they're kind of giving you a bonus on bonus here. If you have an AC Inc. or C Team DPS, hey, you're going to speed through this. Even though the quest requirements are doubled, and that would be slowing you down if you're killing with those, it's not anymore. But otherwise, again, not really. It's kind of a non-restriction. This isn't really difficult. The Genius Gambit. Certainty Dran joins the formation. She can move, but not removed. You may only use champions with an intelligence and or charisma of 14 or higher. So once again, we're delving into restriction territory. Now you do get, it is and or instead of and, which would have been super restrictive. So you'll have, you should have a decent formation to be able to be placed between the two of these, but this is a functionality of one of her specializations and one of her abilities, which feeds into one of her abilities. So they're trying to kind of encourage you to build her out this way. And we'll get into that when we talk about her kit. Overall, not the worst, but if you want to get, E10 favor just to make it easy, you can. But if you can build out a formation and get some decent numbers on the ability we'll talk about here in a moment, you should just be fine. All right, I'm going to hop into a certainty free play here. Hop into a certainty free play. All right. Let us throw everybody in. Eggbert, where you at? Why can I never remember where Egbert is? There he is. There's Egbert. There's our big tanky boy. Boom. Tanks go in the front. Dahani is in slot 1. And Certainty is in slot 5. There we go. All right. All right. So, let's talk about these champions. Let me throw some levels into Egbert here. Get him up to his level up. Egbert joins us from the Oxventurers Guild. This is a completed affiliation in the sense that all of the members are currently in the game. So you can make an Oxventurers team, or you can just pick and choose and grab the ones you like. Okay. Male Dragonborn Paladin. Chaotic good. Chaotic good. Does have a solid overwhelm. 25 is what we like to see, at least base. Anything above that is like, woo! But there are some tanks that are below that. Base attack is a ranged attack, which is the signifier is the arrowhead. Homemade bombs. If you were wondering why he was dropping a bomb earlier, now you know. Egbert throws a bomb at the nearest enemy, dealing damage and knocking back enemies in a small area. So he does have a little knockback associated with his base attack. His roles are tanking, healing, support, and gold. That's overwhelm is a tanking feature. But this is a lot of stuff going on at once. So, yeah. He's got a lot going on. Everything about him is based around Atone for the Past. So understanding how Atone for the Past works is key to understanding Eggbert. And like I said, this is a math we're going to get. I don't like doing math on stream or even talking about math on stream, but we got to talk about math on stream. Atone for the Past. Egbert has a number of atonement points equal to the number of lawful champions in the formation, minus the number of chaotic champions in the formation, not including Egbert himself. So Egbert is not included in this equation. Okay, it's the other 8 or 9 champions you have in your formation. Egbert increases the damage of all champions behind him by an amount, base 100%, multiplied by the number of atonement points he has squared. So we start off with some addition and subtraction, and then we get into some squaring. For those who don't remember, squaring is, yes, I am going to explain this. Squaring is taking the number and multiplying it by itself. Just to be clear. So if he has 2 atonement points and he squares the number, then what we're doing is we're taking 4 times whatever the amount is that the values that he's going to boost. Okay, so 2 squared would be 4. If he has -2, -2 squared is still 4. Just want to be clear. Because that's the way squaring works. Okay, squaring will get rid of the negative, I believe. God, this is why I don't. But okay, this is why I don't do this, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. Put it this way: he's getting a number. We're gonna get the value out of it. It's gonna be fine. The larger the number, the better, or the more extreme the number, the better. The more extreme the number, the better. So the higher either in the positive. Thank you, Chad. The higher in the... I hate math. I hate doing math. I love math. I hate doing math on stream. The higher the number is in the positive, or the lower the number is in the negative. These are the extremes we want to go to. Okay? So, you're looking for either the larger positive number or the larger negative number. So either more lawful champions or more chaotic champions to get a tone for the past as a big number. But this number that you're creating is important, whether it's positive or negative, because we're going to use that number in his other abilities. Okay. Lay on hands. After Egbert makes a base attack, if there's a champion below 50% in terms of health, including himself, he heals the most damaged champion for an amount multiplied by the absolute value of the number of atonement points he has. Absolute value is just taking off. It's taking a number and taking away the plus or minus sign in front of it. Because that positive number, normally we write that without a plus sign, but if you think of it with a plus sign, so +2, -2, it's taking away the plus or minus and just giving us a pure number. That's all you got to remember. So if it's 2, then it's 2 times what I have here, 3,400, and it heals for 6,800. If it's -2, the minus goes away. It's 2 times 3,400 and heals for 6,800. Okay, so just absolute value just means ignore. It's too early for this. Yes, it is. Just ignore the plus or minus sign in front of it. Okay, and then we're going to use absolute value for all of his abilities. So the key is build a tone for the past as high as it is good for your formation, and then at least hopefully you're at least getting to 2. Because 1 squared is still 1, and that's not great, right? So at least hopefully you're getting it to 2. The higher the number is in your formation, the better for all of these other abilities. Friendly protection. Egbert increases the health of all other champions by 5% of his max health, multiplied by the absolute value of the number of atonement points he has. So his health share, also based on atonement points. More the merrier. Egbert increases the effect of atone for the past by 100% for each enemy on the screen, and each point of enemy boss in rage, stacking additively. This is a standard tanking ability, and it means the further you go and the harder it is to kill things, as they're beating on Egbert, he's going to boost his buff to help you clear that level. Okay, this is pretty standard tanking stuff. Can I get credits for auditing this class? No. Golden scales. Egbert increases the global gold find by 100% multiplied by the absolute value of the number of atonement points he has. So once again, the bigger the larger or the more extreme the atonement points number, the better off for you. Now, remember, this is all about lawful and chaotic, and lawful and chaotic is up here on the alignment. It is the left side of the alignment. So if you see good or evil or neutral on the right-hand side, none of that matters for atonement points. It's all about lawful or chaotic. But but the lawful chaotic side has a neutral too. What are we doing with those, Gaarawarr? That's where the specialization comes in. The first specialization choice is determining what to do with your neutral champions that are neutral on the lawful chaotic axis. Atonement begins with an apology. We'll add them as positive numbers. Team Chaos Team will subtract them. So you decide your specialization, your first specialization for Egbert, by looking at what his atonement points are. In this current format, normally you would do this with a full formation, but if we were calling this a full formation, I would be in the -1. I would be in the negatives for atonement points. So what I would do is choose Team Chaos Team, because that's going to add any neutrals to the negative side and give me a bigger negative number. I don't know if... Oh, it did. Yeah, -2. And 2 is better, right? 2 is more extreme, and that's what we're looking for. That's the first specialization. Okay. I can't remember if he has an ability before the second specialization or not. Gets his ultimate. We'll talk about that in a moment because it's great. Second set of specializations do more of their thing. They specialize you into different situations. Smoky bombs. Egbert's bombs now also create smoke clouds that last for 10 seconds. Enemies in one or more smoke clouds take an additional amount of damage from attacks, so it's a debuff. That's great. And have a 50% chance to miss with their attack, so it's a survivability feature as well. This is great for... I think this is great for helping keep Egbert alive. Because remember, if they're all stacked up on him, then he's going to just be throwing it right in front of him. They're only going to be hitting him 50% of the time, and they're taking more damage. Okay. I go smoky bombs almost all the time, but not all the time, right? There's exceptions to every rule. Health Kick increases Egbert's lay on hands. It makes it target the 2 most damaged champions instead of the most damaged champion. So instead of healing 1 person, you'll heal 2. And increases the amount of healing by an amount. These numbers, I'm not reading the amounts off because they're affected by other things, so just know it's by an amount, and it's going to be the amount it shows for you. Oxventure Capitalism is the boost to gold find, so it increases the effect of golden scales by 100% for each Oxventure's affiliation member in the formation, and it stacks multiplicatively. So if you're going for gold, you want Oxventure's Capitalism. And if you're just trying to get some favor in a new run as a new player and you've got a lot of Oxventures people, this is what you want. But if it's just Eggbert, it's just 100%, and that's not that great. But because it stacks multiplicatively, if you have 2, that's 100% times 100%, not 100% plus 100%. Way better. So with even just 2 Oxventures, you're getting significant gold. A significant gold game. Much more significant than 100%. Okay. I'm going for the smoky bombs. See that smoke cloud that just started popping up? Okay. I think that's everything. Yes. Okay, let's talk about his ultimate. La Vache Mauve. I think that's how it's pronounced. Clouds come down from the top of the screen in part, revealing the head of La Vache Mauve, who's a god, by the way. That's Egbert's god. Radiant light shines out from behind La Vache Mauve's head and illuminates the area. Enemies take ultimate damage, and the champions deal 1,000% more damage for 20 seconds. Ready for this, folks? I'm going to turn progress off because this is great. It's a purple cow, folks. Egbert's god. It's a purple cow in a cloud. Look, to each their own. To each their own. I don't get upset about other people's religious choices. That's great. All right, item-wise, we get a damage all champions item. We get a gold find item, and it's pure gold find. It's not boosting his ability. That's because that way, if it were boosting the ability, it would probably break it. So pure gold find. We get health. We need that for the tank. And then we're buffing a tone for the past, because that's what everything is based off of, right? Then we get a buff for the second specialization set. That's why I was saying those numbers are going to vary because they're getting buffed by itemization. And then we can cool down calling on his god. Feat-wise, we get damage all champions, gold find, health. Health is super important for the tanks. We get to buff Atone for the past. We can buff the healing. We can buff his golden scales directly with 80%, which is that's a significant amount. Those are great. Here's a feat for his specializations, so those can go even higher. As you can see, I like to use both of these. You can also buff the overwhelm number, so you can get it up above 25. Combining, if you're having issues staying alive, you need to figure out with a tank. You figure out, is it because I don't have enough health, or is it because I'm past my overwhelm point and taking too much damage? That determines whether you buff you add feats for health or for overwhelm, or both. All right, next up, let's talk about Dahani. It's a holy cow. Yes, that's the thing. Holy cow. Dahani comes to us from the Rivals of Waterdeep. This is currently a completed affiliation, as far as we know, but these were the people from the show when it ended. There was a lot of people in Rivals over the years. One of the longest running live play TTRPGs. You can build a full group. Female Aarakocra, Kensei Monk, DPS and gold find rolls. Now, I want to point out the gold find. She's really just pure DPS. The gold find is only from a specialization choice. If you choose the gold find spec. And when we get to it, I'll explain why I don't recommend that. So just think of Dahani as pure DPS. Chaotic Good is the alignment. Melee attack for the base attack and its Fists of Fury. Dahani attacks a random painted enemy. If no enemies are painted, Dahani attacks the nearest enemy. Okay, so paint them red. So when Dahani attacks, she paints the enemy red. An enemy can be painted up to 3 times. Dahani's damage is increased by an amount for each stroke of paint on the screen, stacking additively. So the more you spread that paint around, the better. Now, this could be confusing because you're like, wait, but she attacks a painted enemy, so she'll just attack the same one until it's dead. True, but there's ways to spread paint, and we're going to get to that. So just know that the more paint is on the screen, the more damage she's going to do. Okay. Friendly Rivalry. Dahani's damage is increased by 200% for each rival of Waterdeep in the formation, and it stacks multiplicatively. That's the good way, folks. Why is that the good way? Additively means it's let's just say 200. I'm going to take the percent off because I can't do that math on stream. 200 plus 200 is 400. But if we're stacking multiplicatively, it's 200 times 200. 200 times 200. And that's more like 40,000? A little bit different number, right? So multiplicatively is the good way in this game, and it's what you want to see happen. So if there are at least, if it's at least her and one other rival in the formation, she's getting a big boost, right? So just know the more rivals, the more of this boost, but it is a fixed value. Way the Brush. Dahani's damage is increased by, let me preface this. This is a permanently stacking ability, which means as you gain stacks, they stay with her forever. Oh, yes. Lurking Rider with the important PSA. When I said the amount more paint on the screen there is, the more damage she does. Please let Dahani do the painting. Don't put paint on your own screen. That doesn't increase her damage. Doesn't increase her damage. Just know, I guess that was misleading math. Look, I said I took the 200 off to explain because multiplying percents is a problem for me on stream. You're not getting 40,000%. I want to be clear. That's not how percents multiply. Just know that multiplicative way better than additive. That's what I was trying to demonstrate. Do your own math. Way the Brush. So permanently stacking ability. The more stacks you get, like over time, the stronger she's going to get. It is a very small additive process. Just understand that. Dahani's damage is increased by 100%. Dahani keeps track of the total number of enemies she has painted across all time. At certain thresholds of painted enemies, and I will show you that in a moment, Dahani increases her layer of Way of the Brush. Each layer increases this effect by an additional 100%, and it stacks multiplicatively. Again, the good way. So the more layers, the better. Once Dahani reaches layer 10, each additional enemy painted increases the buff by 0.03% additively. So for the first 10 layers, we get multiplicative stacking. After you hit layer 10, you just get an additive tiny percent bonus for every painted stack. Now, you're going to see layers over here in Way of the Brush under formation buffs. It'll tell you your total painted enemies. It'll tell you your current layer. So I'm at layer 10. I have over 7 million enemies painted. So my buff right now, while I'm leveled all the way up, is like an EO5, right? So we're getting our multiplicative stacking, and we're getting additive bonus above layer 10. The layer 10 is something like 7 million required. It's a lot. It's a lot. Currently, arguably not necessary. Dahani is fun. I love Dahani's kit. I love the way she works. Dahani could use some balancing to make that permanent stacking buff more worth it, because right now, not super worth it. Were we here? Hold on. Were we to that? Way of the Brush? Yes. Okay. Specialization choices. Splash of yellow, stroke of green, or blotch of blue. So we're adding more paint. Splash of yellow is the gold find. If you want gold, you choose the left spec. She's going to drop enemies are going to drop 200% more gold when they're killed, as long as they have been hit by Dahani and painted gold. That's it. It just adds gold find to her base attacks. I'm going to skip over to Blotch of Blue to come back to green for last. Blotch of Blue enemies Dahani paints also gain a Blotch of Blue. Enemies painted in this way are stunned for 2 seconds when Dahani attacks them, and boss enemies painted this way take 800% more damage from all attacks. So, interesting. You get some crowd control, and you get, 800% more damage against a boss. Both of these have, different functionalities, right? Stroke of Green, though, is my go-to. And I'm going to read it, and then I'll explain why. Enemies Dahani paints also gain a Stroke of Green. Enemies painted in this way cause Dahani's attacks against them to damage nearby enemies as well, but only at half damage. This effect does not chain, but it does apply paint to the enemies it damages. I go with Stroke of Green because of that because of her base ability. One, I want AoE damage because she is a single target DPS, and I want wave clear. 2, Paint Them Red says that she does more damage added for each stroke of paint on the screen. And if I have a bunch of enemies built up on my tank and I hit them with an AoE, that paint is going to all of those enemies, and suddenly my damage spikes through the roof. I prefer that. You don't have to. I'm told people bounce around between all 3 of those specializations. So, do what makes sense for you on the run you're on. Just know, because of the way Paint Them Red works, AoEs adds a lot of paint to the screen, and that means more damage. Okay. Oh, hey. They're all the way up. All right. That's it. Flurry of blushes. No, Flurry of Brushes. Oh, jeez. It's been a long week, folks. This is the ultimate ability. Dahani pulls a quiver of sharpened paintbrushes from her robes and flings them out at 5 random enemies. They deal damage and apply Dahani's paints to all enemies they hit. So this is basically booster damage, right? You're going to get 5 more paint stacks on the screen. And remember, every paint stack increases her damage bonus, or increases the damage she does. So it's just a way, it's going to do damage to 5 things, but it's also just going to, if they don't die right away, it's going to boost her damage too. So, yeah, I'm just going to hit this. You're not going to see it. Well, yeah, because they're just like, and then they're done. Like monks do, real quick. All right, item-wise, we get a pair of self-damage items, because again, she is a selfish DPS. We get a boost to paint them red. We get a boost to friendly rivalry. We get ultimate attack damage and ultimate cooldown. So everything is focused on paint them red. Feat-wise, self-damage items. You get paint them red, which is basically self-damage, right? Gold find, friendly rivalry, and then we get an int +2. She's sitting at 11. Int +2 qualifies her for Strahd as a patron. Strahd as a patron. Yeah, that's all it's going to do right now. All right. Let us talk about the newest champion to arrive, Certainty Dran. So Certainty joins us as Acquisitions Incorporated. This is the main team, not the C team. I know there's been some talk that, well, she appeared in the C team first. Why doesn't she show as C team? She was an NPC, quest giver, effectively, in the C team. She was working at home office. She was not part of the C team. She was part of AC Inc. as the overall organization. So, and now as she is now being played by Jasmine, she is part of the main team on the main stage. Was just in the most recent live stream at PAX. So this is, I don't know. Once upon a time, I would have said this was a completed affiliation, but now, I mean, they just added someone to it. Maybe we'll see more. Maybe we'll see more. Who knows? We're just gonna have to wait. Certainty is a female half-elf Aasimar. How does that work, folks? She is a half-elf from her father's side. Sort of. Yeah, he's a half-elf. She's an Aasimar from her mother's side, because her mother is an avatar of Tymora, the goddess of luck. So, Omen hooked up with an avatar of Tymora. They had a kid. You get a half-elf Aasimar. Wizard and Bard. So she does the support and the gold find, because of course Omen's daughter would be a gold find. Yeah. So, Jim's magic missile is her base attack. The Jim being Jim Dark Magic. Certainty attacks random enemies with a version of Jim's patented magic missile spell. Let's dive into her abilities. Secretarian's Advice. There are like these job roles in Acquisitions Incorporated. If you've never played it, if you've never watched it, or never played using the rules of the AC Inc. book, I think I've got it over here. There are things called Secretarians, and they have special powers. So Secretarian's Advice. Certainty increases the damage of champions in the column in front of her by an amount. That means to buff Dahani, I want her to be in this column. And then she'll start buffing Dahani. And you can see kind of the arrows. I don't know why there's one pointing behind her, but the arrows there are telling you, hey, buff the column in front. Financing rounds. Certainty increases the effect of Secretarian's Advice and your gold find by 1% for each level on AC Inc. or C-Team champions in the formation, stacking additively. Each champion's contribution caps at 1,000 levels after their last upgrade. So this is a feature that's going to just kind of be a bonus. It's not, you're not necessarily building around it, but if you do have a lot of C-Team people, AC Inc. or C-Team or C-Team people in your formation, you're going to get some bonus damage and you're going to get some bonus gold, but it's additively. So it's not outrageous. It's just a nice bonus. And the capping contribution at 1,000 after their last available upgrade, you get there by unlocking your upgrades and switching it over to 1,000 and then just leveling up 1,000 levels past. Certainty is going to reward people who have more established accounts, who can have enough favor to go well beyond the soft cap for champions. Dad and Uncle Jim. So to be clear, somebody was confused about this in chat the other day. Jim is not her like actual uncle. It is a colloquialism in the U.S. in some places, I guess, maybe not everywhere, to call close family friends of your parents either aunt or uncle. That's why it's Uncle Jim. They are not actually related. Just want to be clear. So Certainty helps her father Omen by increasing the damage of champions of Tymora adjacent to her, and she helps her uncle Jim Dark Magic by increasing his damage by 200% due to royalty payments for using his spell. Hilarious. All right. So that's just a nice feature if you've got Jim and or Omen in the formation. So specializations: best and brightest or smooth negotiators. This is not going to make a lot of sense to you when you do it when you come to it the first time, because the ability that uses what we're about to create hasn't been unlocked yet. We're going to get there. Best and brightest, Certainty's preferred ability is intelligence, and she grants a +1 int bonus to all champions in the column in front of her. Smooth Negotiators changes that to charisma. This does not, this, I want to be clear, there were people who had questions about this too. Does this mean I can pull somebody in for a variant that requires like a 1 int higher than they have? No. This only raises the stat of someone already in the formation. So it can't bring anyone into a formation. It just boosts the stats of the people that are already in it. Specifically, this is going to target Dahani. So what do we got here? Intelligence, charisma. Wow, these are both real. Not great. So you're boosting either intelligence or charisma. I'm going to choose intelligence. You're going to, and then when we talk about the next ability, you're going to know, hopefully, why you're choosing one of those over the other. Employee evaluations. Certainty assesses the average score of her preferred ability. In this case, I chose intelligence. Of the champions in the column in front of her, and increases the damage effect of Secretarian's advice by 200% for each full point over 13, and it stacks multiplicatively. That's the good way. Certainty wants to be in formations, at least have the people in the column in front of her have high int, high charisma, or both. Because then you could go either way, right? But you want to focus either in on int or charisma via the specialization. And you want to make sure she's in the column behind your primary DPS, and also make sure the other people in that column have stuff at least 14 or higher. Now, Dahani does have an int feat. I said it's only really going to help get you Strahd stuff. Well, that's not entirely true in this scenario, because we can get her int to 13, and now it's 14 because she's in the column ahead. Now we have at least 1 point. That's not great because we want to stack it multiplicatively. But we at least have 1 point in the employee evaluations, right? But we still have 3 more places left in that column, right, to fill up. So, like, if we were going, we kind of can't put Jim in with Eggbert. Who's high end? Who else is high end? Alcoria is going to be high end, right? That's Rosie. Alcoria is going to be super high end, right? 20 int, yeah. So if we put Alcoria here, now Alcoria has 21 intelligence, and if we go over here and look at employee evaluations, we've got 4 stacks now. It should be more than 4. Should be more than 4. Oh, it's the average score. So we have 21 plus 14, which gives us 35, which takes us to 17.5, and they're rounding up. So you want a bunch of high-level int champions in the column in front of her to get the average as high as possible. Alternately, and I didn't think about this first, but alternately, if your primary DPS has a super high int, like if Alcoria was a DPS, she's not, and she now had 21 intelligence. If there was a lone, you could put Certainty behind her, and she could be in a lone column with just 1 hole in it, right? then you get a massive number of stacks, right? Because the average is just based off that one champion. So play with it's again fun with math, folks. We're doing is it fun? We're doing fun with math. Now we got averages. All right, that's everything. Let's talk about airship attack. It's her ultimate. Barrage of fire from certainty's enlarged toy airship flings up to 10 enemies off the screen. This is going to not be great on boss levels. You think it is, but some boss levels are coded so that you have, even though it says your goal is just to kill the boss, you have to kill the enemies too. So hopefully they fix that if they haven't already. So here comes the airship. Boom, there she goes. And then she's back. That's it. It's just going to basically destroy, knock 10 of them off the screen and they don't come back. Knock 10 of them off the screen, they don't come back. All right. Item-wise, you'll notice I have a smattering of green and blue items because we're going to talk about how to efficiently gear up your champions. We get a damage all champions because she is a support. And then we get a lot of ability buffs. This is fantastic. You get Secretarian's Advice. You get, I didn't talk about Reboot Expert. You get Reboot Expert. You get financing rounds. You get employee evaluations. And you get ultimate cooldown. We'll talk about Reboot Expert here in a second. Totally forgot about it. Probably because it wasn't working for a while. It's working now, I think. Damage all champions, gold fines, secretarians, reboot expert. You can actually increase the stat boost from the specialization instead of +1. There's a feat to make it +2. This is a big deal. New me, big deal. Financing rounds. So lots of different feat support and a pretty neat one. It's 50k, so that's for an established players. Unless you're going to buy the pack in the shop. This is the pack it comes with. You get a cool familiar that's an airship. You get the feat. You get a gem hunter potion. You get a bunch of chests and 2 guaranteed shinies. I mean, it's the usual pack shenanigans. All right, let's talk about Reboot Expert. It's all the way down here at 500. So, like Dahani, Certainty has a permanently stacking ability. Unlike Dahani, it isn't about kills. It isn't about kills. Certainty increases the effect of Secretarian's Advice by an amount. The amount's going to vary. Each time she's been in an adventure for at least 250 areas when it is reset. So if you're starting off your run with her in the party, you have to complete 250, right? If you put her in at like 300, you've got to complete 550. Just explaining, that's what it means. Not that you went past area 250 in a run. She completes 250 areas before you reset. Then you gain a stack. This stacks additively, so again, it's going to be a slow burn, but it persists through resets. I don't think I have any. Yeah, I haven't done it yet. Again, this was broken for a little bit on launch. Now it should be working correctly. And this is a function of her achievement. Let's talk about achievements real quick. Hers is Temporal Mastery, and you have to get 10 of those stacks. So that means you just need to have her in a formation 10 times and go, to be safe, make sure it hits 250, but maybe, set a reset on your Bodron 255, or just go to 255, right? But just remember, you have to, yes, it isn't, I'm spoiled. I can level her up to 500 on area 1. You won't be able to. So you will need to you'll have to get her leveled to 500, then get 250 levels from that point. My bad. I'm spoiled. I have enough favor. I can just do that immediately. 10 times meeting that requirement, right? That's her thing. Egbert's is to atone or not to atone. Complete an adventure while Egbert has either +9 atonement points, and complete an adventure while Egbert has -9 atonement points. This means you're going to need to do 2 adventures. They're going to need to be not in the Sword Coast because you have to get to 9. And you basically just need to throw 9 lawful in for this one, or a bunch of lawful and a bunch of neutral, and choose the left spec. And then the next time a bunch of chaotic and a bunch of neutral, and to get the right spec. You just got to get 9 atonement points. Do a short run and adventure. Once you have it, complete it. It's pretty straightforward. And then Dahani's Paint the Town has reached layer 2 in Dahani's Way of the Brush. That's just a function of painting a lot of things, folks. You got to paint a lot of things. I have the exact numbers in my guide to Dahani, which I am frantically trying to open. I should have had that up. I have a chart for all the layers in Dahani's guide. Let me pull that up over here. These are all on the subreddit. You can find them on the subreddit. So, getting to layer 2 means you need to paint 6,500 enemies. 6,500 enemies. Yeah. And getting to layer 10 is 6.6 million. It wasn't 7 million. So 6.6 million to get to layer 10. So yeah, hit up the chart if you want more. Hit up those guides. I've got guides to all the champions in the game. I've got a guide to Highharvestide Year 7 up on the subreddit. It might be, you might have to scroll down a page or two with all the way people post them lately, but yeah, it'll be there. It'll be there. Okay. What else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about, efficiently gearing up a champion. So, one of the things people ask is there an order to open chests? Yes. Yes, there is. The order is for event champions, and that means any champion that originally arrived in events. So, champions you earn in events and champions you earn in time gates. Those are still event champions. You open your Electrum chests first. Electrums are these ones you get from streams like this. I did not put in my code today. Just know stream codes can be 12 or 16 digits long. Copy paste, the cryptex will auto magically enlarge, and you get an Electrum chest, right? So, Electrum chests first, then named silver chests. Once you run out of Electrum chests, then you can start opening named silver chests for that champion. Don't open your golds for a while. The goal here is to try to efficiently get to blue gear. So you'll notice my certainty is 5 greens and a blue. One of my Electrums got lucky and dropped a blue, because Electrums can do that, so can silvers. But generally they're going to drop more whites and greens than anything else. We start with Electrums first, because Electrums, while Electrums say they can drop gear for any champion you own, and you may think, wow, that's a big pool. Why would I do that? When a champion has no gear or has low rarity gear, effectively everybody else, if they've got gear higher than that, is up here, and then there's a little bit of a well, a gravity well, that sucks those new items from Electrums into it. So opening 6 Electrums when a new champion has no gear gets you 6 items for that champion. Now, once they have gear, then there's potential duplicates that could go other places, but you're effectively focusing gear from Electrums onto new champions that way, which is how I ended up with these greens and these blues. Once you've used all your Electrums, then you switch to silvers. And once you've used up all your silvers, you can look at it. Are you at what I'm at, which is green or better gear? If you're not, if you still have an empty slot or whites or white gear on this champion, you want to keep opening Electrums or named silvers until you get all green. Once you get green or better, then you can start popping your gold chests. The reason for this is golds do have rules. They will guarantee an upgrade either to green or blue. You don't want to waste that guaranteed upgrade on a green. You want to get to full blue in 6 gold chests or less. 6 gold chests or less, right? Because blue is the best you can really shoot for in a guaranteed manner. Getting to purple is about numbers. It's just about numbers. Your first, every gold chest has a chance to drop a purple piece of gear, but it won't guarantee an upgrade until you run your pity timer. That's the purple bar at the bottom. So right now, whenever you get a gold chest for the first time, when it's a new chest you're encountering in the game, the pity timer is going to be 4 like this one is, which means I'm guaranteed on my 4th chest to get an epic piece of gear. So in 6 chests to get me, I need 5 chests for full blue. In those 5 chests, one of those is going to be an epic. Minimum one of them is going to be an epic. So I'm going to pretend that I opened all of my electrums and silvers, and I'm going to just demonstrate. If I open a gold, I'm guaranteed. Now, I did get a duplicate green, but that's fine. I was guaranteed an upgrade, and I went from one of those greens to blue. Do it again. Guaranteed an upgrade. This time, it was an epic. I got luckier than my pity timer, and I got an epic right away. Now my pity timer resets. The normal pity timer is every 10 chests. So to get full epic at your worst luck, in an event, you have to have 54 golds for that champion. Which obviously I have, but that takes a lot of bounty contracts. Bounty contracts are the only way you can get extra tokens, event tokens. So yeah. So that's what you're focusing on doing. You're trying to get to full blue fastest. Now, if you have a bunch of these electrums, I have over 100. This is what I had saved up since the last event. CNE gives us over 30 of these a week. It's been 3 weeks since the last event. If you have lots of electrums, just open them all. They alone. Ooh, I got a shiny. For who? Oh, Ben. Cool. They alone can guarantee you full blue. If you have a bunch of them, they alone can guarantee you full blue on your event champions. Potentially. Name Silver's next. This is basically just getting duplicate item levels onto Certainty to raise her power. And then I go into all the golds. And this will just get me full epic for Certainty, which is going to achieve one of the new season bonus quests. See, I just did. Yeah, I completed it. Epic gear for each of Certainty's things. All right. Oh, and that put me up to 59. Look at that. Woo! Hold on. Yay! All right, season progress. Yay. So now I'm full epic on Certainty. And now I can start putting pigments on her or legendary effects with the epics. But that's the way you do it. That's the most efficient way, is just target, try to get to that 5 blue, 1 purple. Electrums first, named silvers, then named golds. Only once you're at green or better. All right. Okay, we're going to take a short break. I've seen about a dozen questions or so that have come in with question colon in front of them. Please make sure if you have a question for me that has question colon in front of them. Gabe has been grabbing those during the stream. We're going to take a short musical interlude, and then I'll come back and I'll answer those. What song is up? Oh, we don't have any songs for any of these 3 champions. Bardic Inspiration hasn't been active for a while to do them. But we do have one for Rita, who was originally available on Highharvestide, and it's Brimstone Angels Go Go Go. We're going to listen to that.
And I met the devil. It was a cold and stormy day. I was slightly disheveled, but I felt a spark there anyway. It taught me Eldritch Blast, and I was sure this love would last. They all told me no, but he's the devil that I know. But now we're on the road, and we've got so far to go. Brimstone angels bound together, here to run the show. We'll hunt down all your foes, punch them in the nose. Brimstone angels stand together. Go, go, go! Summon the devil. It was such a boring day. He wasn't that special. I was glad to walk away. But when we got kicked out, you needed me to bail you out. I raised my blade and sent devils to their grave. But now we're on the road, and we got so far to go. Brimstone angels fly together, here to run the show. We'll hunt down all your foes, punch them in the nose. Brimstone angels stand together. Go, go, go! Run someone before we find find ourselves. From the mountain peaks to the lowest dungeon dells, I have your back through all of the 9 hells. Festive sisters, but now we're on the road, and we've got so far to go. Brimstone angels bound together, here to run the show. We'll hunt down all your foes, punch them in the nose. Brimstone angels stand together, go, go, go. Brimstone angels stand together, go, go, go.
That is so awesome. I teared up.
All right, we're back. One thing I wanted to point out, since it was kind of coming up in chat, again, bounty token or bounty contracts are how you get extra tokens in an event. The way you get bounty they're down here. That's these scrolls. The way you get bounty contracts is via opening chests. I have a bunch of chests here. I did not loot these. I bought these. So I spent 1 point something million gems buying a bunch of chests. I had looted like 300. And then I bought like 2,500. So opening these is what gets you bounty contracts. This is roughly, I'm raising my number a little bit, but this is roughly how many. I try to open the same amount every event, because that guarantees me not only am I getting all the new feats for the newest champion, but I'm also refilling my bounty contract stash for the next event, so that I can fully epic my champions and get them to a decent power level that they share with others. So when I throw them in a formation, I can more easily compare them to other champions, because they're gonna have a kind of a similar power base. These are Bahamut chests. These don't give you anything worthwhile. I just got to get them open and rid of them. They don't give you anything worthwhile. All right. So now my certainty is in the hundreds of item levels on average. Did one of those 99? Wow, that one really screwed up. Oh well. All right. Oops, that wasn't what I meant. Shadowlandman, if you want to ask questions, you can throw a question : in, just so you know. Because your commentary is not... I think you're getting things confused. So if you'd like to ask questions about what people mean about things, fire away. Let me hit up the questions that everybody else has put in here. Bellsman, let's say you have full epic on all the event champions and still have extra tokens. Where would you spend your extra tokens? Huh. Unfortunately, the multiplicatively stacking ability that is on certainty is post-stack and not pre-stack. We see this down here. It's a post-stack bonus. So she's not necessarily somebody you'd feed a lot of extra item levels into to try to feed that specifically. And the others, there's a post-stack bonus over here. Post-stack bonus. So these aren't really the like the champions that would love to post-stack bonus. These aren't champions that would love, like, absolutely adore tons of item levels. So if you're already full epic and you're at whatever your personal item level floor is, like average item level floor that you're shooting for, I shoot for, if I pull this up, I shoot for like 200 or better. Like Stokey here, 204, 201 Dadius. I've just been trying to, some people are obviously higher because of seasons and stuff. I shoot for 200. So if you're at whatever your personal value is, then, I mean, you don't have to open the rest of those bounty contracts. So, yeah. So spread them out, get everybody a decent equal power. And I do that specifically, like I have a floor for all the champions, because that way when I'm doing a variant that might require champions that I don't normally use, they come in with solid power anyway, and I can complete those variants. Vase 1975. I'm assuming this will be covered, but just in case, the only part I'm having issue with on this event is getting the 3 special achievements for each of them. As in, not the gear or number, level, push, blah, 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 blah. So any advice? Yeah, I mean, we kind of did cover that. Again, certainty is get her to level her up to 500, which is where Reboot XP kicks in. Then go 250 more levels from wherever that was and do that 10 times. So 10 run minimum, and you've got to be able to, you got to have a decent amount of favor wherever you're doing it. Doesn't have to be the event. It can be anywhere. So wherever you have the most favor, you can do it there. To atone or not to atone is really about building out a formation that has 2 formations. The first one, it's lawful and neutral. Neutral on the chaotic side to get you to +9. You don't have to go very far. I think you just have to, once it's there, you just complete, which could be on level 1, maybe level 2 or 3. Try it, see what happens. It should be pretty easy. And then do the opposite of that, get it to -9. So chaotic and neutral. And then Dahani's is the one that's going to require you to actually do some work. To get layers of paint, again, I highly recommend green spec, her green spec, paint them green, because she's going to get an AoE, which means you're going to want to push deep to where enemies are building up on your tank, and then let her AoE them. AoE them, kill them, stack up more enemies. This is why people like to leave adventure, like variants, like Twilight Twist, where and Relentless Peril, where enemies come out, you kill them, they fall down, then they get back up again. I call them Chumbawamba variants. Because then you can build up 100 of those enemies on the screen and they just fall down and get back up, fall down and get back up. And then you can stack that up very quickly. Otherwise, but if you're not doing that, lots of deep pushes. It's basically lots of using Dahani. You can get those done at any time. None of those 3, those champion-specific variants, need to be done during the event. Okay. Shadow Lemon, how do we have certainty gain 10 stacks with a reboot? Again, that's you just have to qualify for Reboot Expert, which is again completing 250 areas in an adventure. So they give you this counter. So once you level her up to Reboot Expert, once her counter is above 250, once her counter reaches 250, you should see this number go up. Then you complete the adventure and do it again. You can't do it in one adventure. You've got to do 10 separate adventures, qualifying for 1 stack each. Isn't kind of related, but not really. Why is Binwin not part of Acquisition Incorporated? When Binwin came into the game, it was after Binwin had left the live shows and had started his own group, Binwin's Minions. There was a comic with Binwin's Minions. So it was not part of AC Inc., so it was not included in AC Inc. Wicked One is employee evaluation int working correctly because I can't get above 1 stack even with Strix and Jim in front of her, and they're both high int. I just did it. I just demonstrated on the screen, so it's working for me. Doesn't mean it's going to work for you. As always, if you ever run into an issue, restart your client first. And remember, it's averaging the totals. What is Jim's? Jim's is 18, so that's going to be 4 contribution. And then Strix is 16. That's going to be 2 contribution, so that should be giving you 3 stacks. It's 4 plus 2 is 6, divided by 3. Divided by 2, the 2 champions would give you 3 stacks. So you should have 3 stacks. At minimum, well, plus whatever you're getting, it should be higher than that because of the bonus. But yeah, restart your client is always the turn it off and turn it back on again is key to making Idle Champions work. Oh no, my captions reset. My bad. Turn back on. Apologies, folks. Sir Lance, did you go over Egbert? I did. I didn't understand the first specialization at all. The second option seems to have no benefit at all. Again, Eggbert is about, are you trying to build, when you put your formation together, before you choose the specialization, are your absolute atonement points, are they, well, not absolute atonement points, where is it? Are your atonement points positive or negative? positive or negative. You're trying to go to the extreme. So if they showed up as negative, like mine did, mine was -1, I went with the right-hand spec, Team Chaos Team, because that added another negative. You're trying to get either positive numbers or negative numbers, whatever's bigger. So before you choose that specialization, pull this up, pull your formation buffs up, and look, is your base number positive or negative? If it's positive, you choose your left specialization. If it's negative, you choose the right specialization. You're not trying to get positive numbers all the time. Negative numbers are fine. You just need to get to an extreme one way or the other, positive or negative. All right, back to general questions. So if you have questions about anything, we still got about another half hour left. Remember, you need question : in front of your question for it to be grabbed and thrown in this document. Jade the Wolf, I need seat 3 champ for split the party 3. What should I pick, BBEG or Nahara? I would go with BBEG. Now, BBEG needs their speed feat to be faster than Nahara, but BBEG OP. BBEG is not only a speed champion, they're also now one of the meta support champions in the game. Because they have a multiplicatively stacking buff that also has pre-stack item support, and that's the OP way. So multiplicatively stacking is the good way. It was demonstrated earlier, sort of. The larger bonuses. Pre-stack multipliers with item support are the OP way. So I would go BBG, because you're going to get the best of both. You're going to get a good speed champion, and you're going to get a pushing champion. Rough Rider, aren't those considered bench seats now? Yeah, so slots, I say slot 1 through 12, but they just decided, you know what, we want to call these bench seats and not bench slots. It's going to take me a while. It's 6 years of calling them bench slots is what it is. I'll get there. Dark Vader, I have 4 groups at the moment, okay? And when I activate a potion in group 3 and change to group 1, is the potion still active? No. I mean, yes, in that group, but it's not like active in group 1. The only ones, so like if I pop a potion in this group, one of these basic potions, the 4 ranges of these 5 potions in this group, and then switch to another group, the potion's still active in the other group, but it's not in my current group because I didn't pop it in my current group. The exception are these 7-day potions, these ones down here and then on the outside. Those are across everything. So potions are formation specific except for the 7 days. Queen Kuko, how would you suggest deciding who to use blacksmithing contracts on? So there are some rules for blacksmithing contracts. One is a kind of a hard fast rule that pretty much everyone agrees to, and that's that don't put them on your core 12 champions or any evergreen champions, because they're going to get their item levels from opening lots of regular silver and gold chests, which we'll be doing over the course of your playtime. You want to put them on event champions, so champions you get from events or time gates. Now, choosing where to put them there, the community is going to have some recommendations. Those recommendations may differ depending on what you're trying to accomplish. I highly recommend picking up a Briv and or Human early on in your gameplay from a time gate. If you can get a natural time gate, great. If you can, otherwise go target them. And then one of those 2 champions becomes your primary target for blacksmithing contracts for a good long while. Because they're speed champions, and their speed effect, along with, their power effects go up too, but their speed effect gets better with item support, which means item levels. And they're the 2 best speed champions in the game. So building them up is fantastic. I prefer Briv, because Briv is also one of the best tanks in the game. So you're getting more bang for your buck there, in my opinion. You're getting a tank, you're getting a support, and you're getting a speed champion, all with the same item levels. Whereas with Human, you're getting a speed champion and a support champion, missing the tank. But either way is good. And then if you're thinking, well, I don't care about speed, or I already did my speed champions, pushing champions, like deep pushing champions, with very specific qualifications. I just mentioned BBEG. He has a multiplicatively stacking ability. That's what we're looking for in champions that we tend to want to use as like meta champions. But the OP ones are the ones that also have items that support that ability with pre-stack bonuses, pre-stack multipliers. They are major targets for blacksmithing contracts. So that is champions like, but not limited to, BBEG, Entreus, and Strongheart, Jim. In the current season, Acquisitors Incorporated season, Jim has a multiplicatively stacking pre-stack ability. Champions like this, if you find that type of champion, they're always going to give you a good return on your investment for blacksmithing contracts because of that pre-stack multiplier. As long as you're using them correctly in your formation, they're going to give you a lot of pushing power. Yeah. There are a couple DPS champions that get a lot of efficiency out of their items for this same reason. Artemis and Krond. Artemis is the one that most people go gaga over, but it needs like minimum 1,000. There are people who say Artemis is effective before 1,000 item levels. I've never seen it on my account. When I had him below 1,000 item levels, he could not compete. He was a mid-tier DPS for me. So just know you could potentially, for the same investment, other champions can be far stronger. Artemis needs a specific group of champions. They're all going to need item levels, but him specifically. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Those kind of champions. But again, I tend to target, when I'm on a new player account, I target speed champions first. I specifically start with Briv because he's both a speed and pushing champion. I get more bang for my buck. Yeah. Almeida Alvaro, will they make a colorblind configuration one day? People have been giving feedback about accessibility since the game came out, and they have made changes over time. Will they ever have a specific setting for that? I don't know. What they've been trying to do is create different ways for the current system to function regardless of, vision issues. And one of those we see, so it depends on whatever you specifically are looking for, give that feedback. Mars, Storyteller Mars, who streams on this channel, is a employee of Codename. He himself has one version of color blindness, so is giving feedback all the time. But there's different types of color blindness, so if there's something specifically that you're having an issue with, give that feedback directly to the developers, and they'll look into it. We did see a change to like item cards to help people understand if you're not seeing these colors, white, green, blue, purple, and now this orange border around the outside. If you don't know, like if those don't show up for you, they made changes to the cards themselves that maybe you don't notice. But I can explain. So at the top left of the outer border of the card, there are hash marks. There's just these little slashes. The number determines the rarity. So 1 is common, or what would be a white card. 2 is green, or uncommon. 3 is rare, or blue. 4 is epic, or purple. And then 5 means you have turned it into a legendary effect of an item. Now, this is also represented in the gems that you see in the middle of the card, both in the shape and the number of the gems. So if I go to, it's probably best shown over here. You can see in the middle of the card, it is just a kind of a plain, roundish gem with nothing else. That signifies that it's a common card. Now we have a triangular gem with 2 flanking gems. That's uncommon, green. Rare, blue, has a square gem with 4 flanking gems. And epic has a hex center with 6 outer gems, flanking gems. And then again, if you get to legendary, now you get the full... it's just a different hex, but now there's 8 flanking gems. right? So they've tried to put these cues in as visual cues that aren't about color at all to help you determine rarity. Whether those are picked up by people or not and understood by people, I can't say. As for other things in the game, I don't know. I don't have the info on, people giving that feedback. But the more people that give feedback about issues like that, the more they try to make changes. It just, it can take a while. But they did rework all the art on cards specifically for that reason. And in general, like, my perspective is, if you're going to make it, this is me personally talking. I'm not representing Codename Entertainment at all here. For me, if you're going to make a game, just make it accessible to everyone from the beginning. Make your choices based off things that don't require a colorblind setting. That is not what most games do, unfortunately, but that tends to just, if you start out making it accessible from the beginning, you never run into these issues. And the reality is we run into these issues. Trulius is, if gem farming, is Certainty Drawn now a better option than Briv with the Reboot Expert? Reboot Expert is not Certainty is not a speed champion. Certainty is not a speed champion. So if you're gem farming, she's not going to get you more gems. She's a support and gold find champion, not a speed champion. If you are someone who is doing automated Briv gem farming, which is a very specific niche of gem farming for highly established accounts with lots of item levels, no. It's not going to get you more gems. You have to choose. Do you want to grind up Certainty's Reboot Expert, or do you want to earn gems? You have to make a choice. Now, if you are doing regular gem farming, which is just, Briv doesn't go in regular gem farming. If you're using Briv in like a Mad Wizard formation, he's not. That's no. Nope. So you would put other champions, other speed champions in like a Mad Wizard gem farm. You could throw Certainty in that as long as you're resetting past. You're going far enough for her to earn those 250 stacks, which doesn't mean getting to 250 unless you're getting her leveled up to 500 on Area 1. But yeah, so it just depends. It's not a better option because you're not getting more gems if you're gem farming. If you're trying to stack Certainty while gem farming, you can do that, but you're going to earn, you can earn fewer gems if you're normally an automated Briv gem farmer. You have to make those choices yourself. But Briv is not a normal gem farming champion. He is an extreme gem farming champion in a very niche situation. And people who build those formations and tune them know that Certainty wouldn't go in there. So if you're using Briv outside of that, stop. He's not helping you. And then you could charge Certainty up. Liliantra, where can I see my game's current version number? Good question. I never pay attention. I think it's just here. Yeah, down here at the bottom right of this screen. Version 0.539. That's what it says. I mean, that's what I would assume we would be looking for. And up here, yeah, version 539. Gordas, are there any considerations for where to put tanking pigments other than which tanks you use? I just got my first set of tanking pigments. So, tanking pigments increases the max health of its champion by 100%. By 100%. So doubles the health of just that champion. For me, just reading it straightforward, for me, that tells me I want to use it on the champions that I'm deep pushing with. Because those are the champions that need to stay alive. Because at any other time, unless I'm doing super deep pushes, my tanks, a lot of tanks are fine. But when I start delving past areas 1700, personally on my account, my tanks start falling over pretty readily. I have to do some things to make sure they survive. So for me, these are going on deep push tanks. I'm not trying to put them on a tank just so that they're more viable. Now, if you just have a favorite tank that you like to use, put them wherever you want. They're your tanking pigments. Put them wherever you want. It's your choice. Don't let people try to trash talk your choice. If you're making an informed choice based on either how you're playing the game or just where you want to put it, that's fine. Lurking Rider is going to put them on nerds because the Lurking Rider just has a thing about nerds. I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's probably the worst place you could ever put them. But again, don't listen. I'm gonna trash talk that choice, but don't listen to it if that's where you want to put them. Lurking Rider's going to put it wherever I didn't dare you. I just said you're probably going to put all your pigments on nerds. Nerds is the only champion in the game that can get all 4 types of pigments. That doesn't mean nerds is good. And that's not going to make nerds better. That's not going to make nerds better. So I'm going to put them on whatever I'm deep pushing with. I'm going to specifically put them on there's a part of me that wants to put them on my Briv, just to make my Briv tankier. But really what I should be looking at is, personally from my account, is who am I off tanking with, like in the 2 and the 3 champion or 3 tank front lines that's most likely dying before Briv. If I can keep them alive longer, that might be good, right? So there's another consideration. But you really have to to look at what you're doing and make a decision based off your account. What's going to help you do better? D2 Crafty, would you pick Certainty over Valentine? I don't really use Valentine. Honestly, if I'm deep pushing, I'm using Briv. Again, Valentine is like Valentine seems to be what everybody uses for Artemis formations. I don't do Artemis formations. Valentine has other uses than that, but that tends to be the big deal. People running Artemis formations are running Valentine. I tend to just try to push with my formation, and I use Briv for that. So, I don't know. Probably not. Valentine's real strong. So probably not. But that's an end-game issue. That doesn't mean you can't... It depends on gear and item levels and the formation you're in and whatever. Harsivers, what is the most often asked question you have to answer all the time? Because I don't know what I don't know. Because you're new. Welcome, first off. Welcome to the game. I don't know. I get a lot of stuff asked all the time. As a new player... pull this. Is that the right command? The bot is... It's Saturday, and the bot doesn't... No, I don't get asked how fast most often, but some people do. Is it not exclamation point new player? Somebody link my new player guide. There it goes. It just took a while. Seeker got. Oh, it's not the underscore. That's why. People want to know, like, how do I progress through the game? Like, that's a big one, and I made a guide for that. It's that new player reference, a guided tour that's now linked in chat. That is a collection. It is a collection of. It is an organized way of moving through the game in a milestone progress situation, which tends to help people better process how efficient ways to progress, right? And it also links to a bunch of different guides that I've written and other references that are going to help you get through and understand that kind of stuff. But I get asked so many questions over and over again. I don't track that in my head. I don't track that in my head. Yeah. Probably, I get asked a lot of questions like, what's the best champion? And it's like, for what? Right. A lot of the problem with answering some of the questions in this game is it depends. It always depends. Because it depends on what you're trying to do. So just know that that the one hard fast rule in Idle Champions is that there's an exception to every rule. So if anybody says this is the only way to do something, know that there's an exception. There's probably another way to do it. They just chose that way, right? Honor Night win is certainty drawn better than Valentine to earn her slot. I don't know. You tell me. Again, you can't make these kinds of determinations in a vacuum, because no one plays this game in a vacuum. They might play it while a vacuum cleaner is running in their house, but they're not playing it in a vacuum, right? That was a horrible joke. Welcome to my streams, folks, if you're new. You have to make informed decisions, and informed decisions have to do with about what champion is better than another from a bench slot, has to do with what type of formation you're building, what other champions are in there that are they going to benefit from one or the other of these champions better? What is your gear like on those champions? What are their item levels like? These are all going to be different. These are all going to be things you have to factor into. Is one champion better than another when you're in the same slot? There are some champions that are just kind of mathematically OP, but that doesn't mean that, again, exception to every rule, that doesn't mean that they're always going to be your best choice. So when is certainty better than Valentine? Well, when you throw her in the formation you're building and she works out better. And you push further, or you complete the adventure you were trying to complete when you couldn't do that with Valentine. That's when she's better. Can I name those scenarios? No, because it could be an infinite. No, there could be an infinite number of those. I have no way to know. But generally speaking, based off their kits, certainty isn't going to be generally, like for end game use. Valentine's probably better if you're building a Valentine needs positional formation abilities. If you have a formation that doesn't have those, certainty might be better. Certainty's probably going to be better. Again, it's about the formation you're building. And it's kind of an in-game problem, and not when you're a newer player, you slot whoever is going to give you the best pushing power, and it could bounce between those, and that has a lot to do with gear early on. In-game problems are in-game problems, and by that point, hopefully, you can know how to make that determination. Fog Piscolo, which ability of BBG applies the OP pre-stack bonus? Sources of Corpses. Sources of Corpses. So if we throw BBG in here, and we look, did I level them up high enough? No, I did not. All right, it's got to go through this. I don't memorize what all the item levels I need. So, sources of corpses, blah, 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 blah. Blah, blah, blah. Each Awful One's affiliation member in the formation. That's for the zombies. Never mind. The damage bonus of Evil Overlord is increased by 1% for each summoned zombie, stacking multiplicatively. And the damage bonus is a pre-stack multiplier based off their slot 4 item. Mine's level. Well, I leveled mine up to 1,000. So the more zombies on the screen, the more stacks you get. But the value goes up with slot 4 itemization. And it's a pre-stack multiplier. Sludgy, which of the 3 current event champions should I put my tokens to after I picked up all the gold chests from the variants? It depends. Also, is Dahani a viable DPS? She's in the mid to lower tier of the DPS currently. She seemed to perform similarly as Jim for me on lower gear. I would be shocked if that were the case. Jim, then maybe I would say maybe you're not using Jim right. Jim's going to get a bunch of gear and item levels from this season. Jim has a multiplicatively stacking ability. Dahani does not have these benefits. But yeah, I mean, it depends where you should put your tokens. If everybody's got like 5 blues and an epic, where did the epic land? Do you want to hunt a specific epic for those champions? Did somebody get 2 epics? If they got 2 epics and then 4 blues, try to get an epic on the other champions, right? Like balancing out your gear is good when you're new. because you're balancing out your power. Again, I don't think these champions have like super like I've got to hunt for a specific epic. Like these champions aren't in that grouping. So, just trying to equally gear up your champions is probably a good idea. Roker, what is your favorite skin in the game? Oh no. I don't know. I have a lot of skins that I like. I don't know that I have a favorite. Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of skins in this game. And without being able to just see them and compare them like straight away, there's 125 champions. I can't pull up all their skins easily. I don't know. Pirate skins are definitely up there. I'm a big fan of pirates, so the pirate skins are definitely up there. But that doesn't mean just because it's a pirate skin doesn't mean it would be my favorite. Those would definitely be at the top. Niskis, now that we have official quests asking for Area 2000. Do we know if the kill switch from Area 1952 is going to be removed? I didn't know there was a kill switch. I don't pay attention to that. So I don't know. That's a question for Dev Insights. I've been to Area 2001 twice this week, so whatever that kill switch is obviously not. People go to 2001 all the time, so obviously people don't have an issue getting to 2001. Some people might, but that's part of the growth curve, right? So I don't know. I don't think they'll care. Yeah. Maybe after they fix the bug that gets me to 2001. Did you crafting one? How long did it? Here's a question I do get a lot. How long did it take to grow that beard? I don't know. I just stopped shaving and it appeared. I've been growing it for a very long time now, years. But I trim it regularly. Like right now, it's kind of off the screen. If I'm leaning forward, so I'll probably sometimes I take like about this much off of it, and then let it grow back. But this time it seems to be looking fairly decent at that length. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Steven, does Certainty Dran have a +1 con feed as per the blog description? I don't know. You tell me. Does she? I don't see one. So I don't know. I don't write blog. I don't work for Codename Entertainment. I want to be clear. I'm an independent contractor. They have me do these streams to answer questions. So not currently. That doesn't mean she won't get one. But she doesn't currently. I don't know what blog you're referring to either. That's the thing. So I don't know. Zilpha, are there any affiliations that work great late game? I kind of like the idea of a group. They're making affiliations better, but as far as like that being the thing you have to push with, I mean, the awful ones are pretty solid. They've got technically BBEG is associated with the awful ones, but isn't a part. They've got a cut, so that makes 2 pretty OP champions in it. But like Heroes of the Plains is a pretty solid affiliation. Like as an overall group, they just don't have a DPS, so you'd have to bring somebody in. I mean, the current season of Ack Inc. is they're doing well. These are some much stronger champions than before. And you're getting to level up with this group. You don't necessarily need to go pick up the others. You could just be like, well, these 5 and go for it. They are the best 5 at the moment because they just got reworked to a certain degree. I mean, people play with the Ox Ventures. People use different Heroes of Erois. There's there are a lot of decent affiliations, but if you're going, usually the game is played more pick and choose, and you might pair up with the affiliation to try to get like super far, but you don't have to play it that way. You can just choose your favorite affiliation and go. Or again, Rivals of Waterdeep is a completed affiliation. You could throw down with them. Awful ones are basically, it's Entreus, Avandra, and Nixie. So a tank, a support, and a DPS, but BBEG is unofficially part of them. It just has to do with their stuff. Here's the Plains have a lot. They just don't have a DPS, and they're strong. Here's the Plains is strong. They just don't have a DPS. So, there's a couple. There's a couple. All right. But yeah, I mean, right now, if they're doing a season 4 champions, that group is strong. They haven't done a season yet where that group hasn't come out strong during that, or stronger, I should say. So this season grouping right now is real strong, and you're going to get rewarded with stuff for them, the good stuff for them that's going to make them even stronger. So lean into the seasons, and get rewards. All right, folks, that's going to be it for today. There's no more streams on this channel until Tuesday. However, I stream the game on Mondays and Wednesdays over on my channel, twitch.tv/Gaarawarr. I'll also throw... there you go. You click on my name in chat. Go throw it a follow. I do a little show called Idle Chatter. This week, I just mentioned I got to 2001 twice, but it was on the back of a bug. I think on Monday. I think Monday is going to be bug hunting. I think I'm going to try to do it again and then try to really spend my time trying to figure out why is it broken, like who is breaking it, so we can get it fixed, because it's causing problems with in-game balance. It's just I don't even know what a good formation is anymore because everything breaks. And then I go super far, which, some people enjoy, but I want to actually get rewarded for the work I put in the game. So I'm going to be doing that on Monday. But later on today, in about an hour after I go get some lunch, I'm going to be playing Baldur's Gate 3, like everybody else in the world, it feels like. But I'm playing as my OG Gaarawarr Grudge Keeper, so I'm a dwarf in heavy armor, running around, beating people up. Apparently, yesterday... decisions were made, and now I'm suffering the consequences of those decisions. I tried to do something, and the popo are after me. I'm now a wanted criminal, kill on sight, which is not good. I'm not a bad person, but suddenly I'm like, am I the bad guy now? Decisions were made. So today, I will be trying to weasel out of those, the consequences of my own actions. I gotta find a way to get out of that. So come join me while I try to make sure people aren't trying to kill me every time I walk through the street. Yeah. That's it, folks. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. If I don't see you until next week. The song we're going out on, I don't remember. What song we're going out on. Oh, now I know. I do. We don't have a song for Certainty, but we have a song for Omen, and I feel like it works for Certainty too, in the sense of hustling rubes. So here's From the Desk of Omen Dran, #ad. Bye, everybody.
Started out with a simple tune, friendly and saccharine like a cartoon. Let the listener have no doubt, they need to feel the fear of missing out. We'll inspire them with epic riffs and emotional music gift. Rouse your feelings toward our cause, and our ad with arousing applause. And then the hook should be big and strong and catchy to distract them from noticing we're sketchy. Do a chord shift on the chorus to make the room adore us. There's more for us when we swindle their trust. 'cause our old clients are all out of funds. Avoid talking about any deals. We just want to give them the feels. And then the hook should be big and strong and catchy. Distract them from noticing we're sketchy. Do a chord shift on the chorus to make the room adore us. There's more for us when we swindle their trust. Take it down to a minor scale, demonstrate the ways our rivals fail. This song is a testament to our return on investment. And then the finale is soft and calm and nurturing, so they won't realize just how much they're purchasing. Try to keep it soft and sweet and gentle. Coerce these fools with something sentimental. Appeal to their greed, make them think it's our sweet need. Then we'll get tamer for the final disclaimer. There's more for us when we swindle their trust.
Yeah, okay, well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.